Hello, my beautiful souls. Let's talk about Sunday or thereabout. I hope you like this setup with me standing and doing the reading. It's just the only realistic option that I have close to where I'm living currently. But let's do some shuffling and see what this Sunday is going to be all about. It feels like you need to be patient throughout this day. You're needing to maybe bite your tongue. It's this feeling of, as I'm being drawn to, honestly, the words wet paint. There's something about you, maybe needing to be aware of your surroundings and maybe remember strategically what you're waiting for, but still have patience. But it's this feeling of it being a Sunday where there's some waiting taking place. It could be for something in the upcoming days, maybe a little bit further out for some. It could be, completion or occurrence, change within a specific Sunday period. Regardless of how it pertains to you or how it turns out for you, there is a need for some serious patience and some waiting once again. But what else do we have for this upcoming Sunday? The Four of Cups. I'm hearing out of alignment, King of Pentacles, Seven of Swords, the Hanged Man, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Ten of Pentacles. So on one end, it feels like you're being viewed at in a very confident, very secure light. Okay, even if you don't feel like you are fully or in general, but it's a sense of you really at times focusing upon, even if it's far and few in between, on who and what feels to be completely or even maybe partially or sometimes out of alignment with who you are at this point along your path. Because it feels like you've changed a lot over time, most people do. But the Seven of Swords says keep to yourself at certain points. If your intuition is screaming to you very loud and clear to steer clear, to avoid, to exit a conversation, or to prevent some sort of updating, then just trust it, please, all right, and act accordingly, proceed accordingly, rather. But you may need to adjust your perspective at certain points, whether it's you're in this impatient mindset, which some of you will be throughout the Sunday. It could be more in regards to you expecting the worst. It could be you maybe focusing upon the negatives from the past while the present day reality isn't involving that or anything similar. You know what I'm saying? And remembering all the meanwhile, and I say this all the time, my friend, you're a manifester. So what do you expect is going to happen? You create more difficulty, negativity, whatever ends up being that you are focusing upon or speaking upon otherwise in a negative sense, okay? I'm not saying you are wrong in regards to what you're saying per se. It just, we don't want to manifest negative, all right? Or the negative. But the Knight of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles saying that you are maybe slowly accomplishing in regards to getting closer to your Ten of Pentacles lifestyle to make sure it happens in the near future. But either way, it feels like it's a day of slow progression. And I want to point this out. So money's going to be on the mind, you know what I mean? Taking a focus. But it feels to be a Sunday where even if you don't plan to or want to, or maybe even when it comes to other people's or someone's expectation of you as far as how quickly you get things done, you're just going to end up doing things slowly. Slow and steady wins the race, and it's a Sunday. We need to remember that. It's almost as if some people are in like a Saturday or a Friday, Thursday, maybe even a Monday kind of mindset and way of doing things. And even, again, their expectations could be like that. And so they're saying that don't force it, okay? Because your slow and steady way of being and doing things throughout this day feels to be very much in alignment once again with the energy of this day. I don't know, I was given a few different poor wordings for that, but they're also saying that you're going to be gaining clarity. Look at the Temperance card. You're going to be gaining some sort of clarity throughout the Sunday that you need to be holding close to your chest. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that the time won't come to update your specific somebody in your life that you normally update, that important person to you or people. But Spirit's saying right now, again with the Seven of Swords, there's something about you needing to be more strategic in regards to the information, the clarity that you are gaining at this time and even recently gained. But the Page of Wands, because it feels like there is passionate communication taking place, there's maybe even new money coming in for somebody. But at the very least, I feel it to be a very opportunistic period along your path where it's almost as if you're needing to remember that that's just one of the forms of abundance that you're going to be receiving when you need to, when you want to at times, but more so guaranteed when you need it. And again, there are other forms of abundance because it feels like, as I'm seeing the Five of Pentacles, you may be in a state of focusing upon what you have yet to achieve or what you don't have enough of. Don't worry, okay? But there's a tower moment on the mind for a lot where you simply feel you're not fitting in, okay? Maybe it's that you don't want to fit in, you know what I mean? I know what it's going to be for me, but, you know, see how that plays out or apply it to the obvious for your current day reality, because it feels like a lot within this collective are dealing with a situation that they're not completely or at all fond of, or just isn't fully great in energy. Because to be honest with you, before I started this daily read, I did get a very random message of this Sunday will contain both bad and, let's reverse that, both good and bad energy, because we're going to create and focus upon the good energy more so. Because think about it, when you have in the past, or if you were to even begin to give attention and whatnot to the negative energy, it's going to give it weight more so, right? It's going to become heavier, more prominent. It could even really become so toxic that it takes over. You know, I'm getting a prime example of, say, someone's negative at work. You know, some people do work on Sundays like myself. You know, whoever it ends up being in your life, you know, and it could be multiple people. If they're being negative, pessimistic, and complaining, if you water that, if you give them the time of day in regards to it, you're going to find that that just maybe even takes over your energy, other people's, and just, yeah, it just can spread. So just tread carefully with that. But again, it just feels like that could be one of the many ways where you're going to need to dig for that patience. But another 10, so 10 means there is abundance to be acquired in different forms once again, and I would not be surprised if financial gain is part of that for you. But regardless, it feels to be a day where Spirit is saying there is happiness once again, like some of the previous daily reads, and it feels like you're nowhere close to your end-all be-all, your happily ever afters, you know, having each and every area of your life feeling close to, if not fully ideal, right? And so they're saying, let that remind you that the best is yet to come. Let that remind you that you have it within your control to change your future for the better, okay? But Spirit is saying, have patience, my friend. It feels like this day will be very rewarding, right? At least at certain points. But again, there's bad, or rather, again, we have to continuously do that. The reversal. There's both good and bad energy, okay? But what they're reminding you of is part of your power at this time more than ever lies within the fact that you can and should be embodying, creating, spreading this good energy, right? Don't be part of that bad or negative energy that we've been speaking upon that is somewhat, if not fully guaranteed throughout Sunday. But have patience, my friend, okay? Be the good energy and let this Sunday be a very rewarding day for you, all right? So those are your messages for this Sunday. I hope they were truly helpful. I am sending you so much love and light. Take care.